The math did.
Welcome in, my possum friends. We are Offensive Points, and guys, if there's one thing I know, it's when life gives you possums, you grab them by the tail and do what you can. Just do the best with it. I want to give a special shout out to IDP Hunter and all the family at RPO Fantasy, as well as Jordan Rains and the IDP Army, and Josh and Billy just for doing some damn good work on the back end here to keep this ball rolling, keep this baby in progress. We are excited today. We got some news for you. And we're going to dive into the NFC North, which honestly, I think could be called the NFC question marks right now because there is a lot in this division that we're just going to have to talk it through and figure out. It is one of the biggest question marks that I've come across this year, and excited to hear the thoughts of Josh and Billy. Guys, what's up?
This is one of those divisions that could be the best division in football, the most competitive division in football, or quite possibly the worst division in football. I mean, that's less likely. But just because of how competitive it's going to be, like I could see none of these teams getting 10 wins. And just all being 9-8, 8-9, the NFC South for the last few years. It's gonna be a dogfight. I haven't looked at any of the schedules. I'm just saying, like, these teams are good enough to where they probably should be in that 10-win range. I mean, most of them. And then there's this just little doubt on all of the teams. And we'll get into that shortly, but I was just thinking about this division, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going to happen.
I'm surprised you said little doubt, because I think the case can be made for every one of these teams that there is a lot of doubt on all of them, but we'll see.
It's kind of like each team is held up by like one thing. Like the Lions, I feel like are a little well-rounded, but they lost both coordinators. So
no, that's the thing.
Who knows where that's headed? But like all the other teams, like you just don't know what is going to be the thing that takes us down. You could probably guess going into the season, but who knows? But it makes for a fun division.
The team that I have the least doubts on is actually the Green Bay Packers, surprisingly. I mean, I don't think that they're going to win the division by any means, but I just think that their doubt is just more of like, can they all figure it out? You know what I mean? There's no like, oh, the wide receiver room's bad, the defense is bad. Like, they're pretty well-rounded, like all around. I mean, they have this depth at wide receiver, which we'll get into. They have a good quarterback. I mean, good enough. And they have a great running back. They have good coaching staff. I mean, it's not like there's nothing missing on this team. It's just, can everything work in unison?
Well, Ken, I think you just explained every single team in this division.
Packers are, can you make a bunch of B-plus players into an A-plus team? And that's kind of, I mean, I'll get into that more when we get to the preview. But other than Josh Jacobs, he is the only piece that you're like, no doubt in my mind about that. But
even he's in doubt because he only plays half the game.
Yeah, well, that's true. That might be by design. We don't know.
It didn't design out well last year.
Yeah, so I would say we have news. This is like camp news season all over again. Kind of continuing off our Broncos things last week. J.K. Dobbins saying that he signed with the Broncos so that he could sign with a Super Bowl contender coming from the LA Chargers. I just feel like that's the Spider-Man meme pointing at each other. I feel those teams are about equal. So saying that you left one to join one is kind of, I don't know. I don't know if I believe that necessarily. Thought that was funny.
I like the Broncos, and we've had the whole argument. We're not going to do that again, but yeah, I think you're right. It's a pretty lateral transfer, maybe one notch up the belt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you went from your yellow belt to your orange belt. Like, it wasn't a huge change. No one really cares. You're not a black belt, at the end of the day.
Yeah. It just means RJ Harvey really is the truth. He took one look at him and during his walkthrough, and he was like, damn, dude, we're going to the Super Bowl. So don't quit drafting RJ Harvey, folks.
I'm glad we haven't done AFC yet, because, man, the Broncos, there's going to be a couple of different teams that I'm looking forward to doing. The Broncos, that whole division is one of them, but
there's still some pieces to fall too. Like the AFC, like I'm glad like you said, we haven't done it yet, because I still feel like there's pieces still to fall, like in a lot of the teams on that side of the bracket. Like NFC, I feel like these teams are pretty what they're going to be. AFC, we're still got pieces moving, so I guess we'll see how that turns out. We're not going to talk about the Shedeur Sanders driving thing. I feel like if there's one player in the NFL to stay out of the news cycle, it would be Shedeur Sanders. But hey, he did it. He sped and went 101. I don't think there's anything to make of that. I don't think he's even going to be disciplined.
I went 101 when I was 21, so I get it.
Hell yeah, Joe.
I drove your car 100 something when we were driving to Illinois. This was years ago.
Yeah.
What's the statute of limitations like on that before I started?
We're well past it.
Okay, good, cool.
Whoop, whoop.
My mom drove 100 one time in Oklahoma. Almost got a ticket for child endangerment since I was in the car and I was like 10. But she didn't. She just told the cop, I just wanted to go 100 once in my life, and she did it. So
there's some jokes here.
Awesome.
I'm just gonna leave.
Shout out to Mama Mansell for that.
That's a great excuse. That's like not even trying to like beat around the bush or anything. That's just like, hey man, I saw the opportunity, I took it.
She told the cop. I mean, the speed limit was 80, so it's not like it was.
It's not that bad.
100 in a 60. It was 80. There was 0 people on the interstate. So what better time? And there was a cop sitting on an on-ramp speed trap.
Man. He was getting people all day too. I bet he was tired.
For sure. Because there was nobody out there. But
girls always get out tickets, man. They can just be like, I didn't know. And like if I did, I'd be like,
I doubt when the cop pulled her over that he, expect to be me, my dad, and they're like, I had one of my buddies with me when we were in like 2 kids in the back seat. Don't think he was expecting that. I'm sure he expected some like Yahoo with a bunch of beer cans in the front passenger side, but it was.
Who knows? Maybe Mama Mansell had a couple beer cans sitting away.
Honestly, if we're going to be deep diving into this, my dad did have to hide one of the beer cans from his side of the car in the back seat, but it wasn't anything she did to get that. But again, statute of limitations, well past, so we're good. That was
whoop whoop
20 years ago. 27 years ago. Yeah, long time.
All
right. Let's speed our way into the NFC North. So we got the Vikings, Packers, Chicago, and the Vikings. This was a very competitive division last season, I will say. I even though maybe the Bears didn't lead up their expectations, I still feel like overall this was still a very, very competitive division through and through. So that being said, technically the Chicago Bears and the Vikings have the same, over-under in Vegas. So Josh is raising his hand to go first. So I guess the Vikings are first.
Yeah. Vikings story is this is actually one of the bigger changes of teams that we've had in a while. So a lot changed here. I think the most notable is they took the 2 interior guys from Indy and added them to their offensive line to boost them up to be a top 5 offensive line, which is great for this team. Of course, they went out and got Jordan Mason from the 49ers as they were fire sailing all their running backs that aren't named Christian McCaffrey. And got Allen and Hargrave. Now, they did lose Cousins, which we know, and Danielle Hunter was a big one, and then some other interior guards basically that were replaced. And then, honestly, not much else. I mean, Cameron Bynum maybe is a loss. That hurts a little bit on the back end, but their defense is still top tier. So now getting into the fantasy aspects of all this, now Justin Jefferson's at the top of the list in everyone's fantasy circles, and I think you can still draft him as such. I think we proved last year that he's pretty much QB proof at this point. So JJ McCarthy, now we don't know what we're getting into. This is going to be super questionable all around until we see him play, right? The cool thing about JJ McCarthy is he's actually being ranked where he should be. It's QB 22. I'm taking the late flyer potentially on a backup QB if you need one in the league or in a super flex league. JJ McCarthy can be a great starter potentially. Like he's throwing to Justin Jefferson. He's got Addison. He's got all these other guys. Now, their draft didn't make a whole lot of sense. So they went out there and grabbed Donovan Jackson, another guard, to boost up that interior line, which is great. And then they went immediately and grabbed Ty Felton in the 3rd round. Didn't have a whole lot of picks to go around. And then some defensive guys to tie out the draft with the tight end as well. Don't really understand the Ty Felton grab here. We've seen Addison. He's been great. He is currently in court for a DWI, which of course there was someone who passed away from the Vikings. So I think he might get made an example of in a DUI accident that was. So I think he might get made an example of, but at the end of the day, they don't really punish these that harshly, sadly. Most people don't really actually deal with any consequences when they're professional athletes, but there is a chance that he misses the first couple games. So what I'm going to say here is I think TJ Hawkinson gets off to a good start. builds a rapport with JJ McCarthy. If Addison does miss a game or two, at the end of the day, I think Hawkinson's going to have a great year as it is. Tight end 5, 64, 5th round tight end. It's kind of in that spot where I'm like, I don't really want to reach and I'd rather wait till later, but I think Hawkinson's really the end of a tier. And then Addison is right around that time. Actually, Addison and Aaron Jones are 65, 68, running back 22 and 34, wide receiver 34 off the board. Now, Addison's price tag is a bit pricey at the moment, but everything will shake out, I think, before the season starts. So we'll know about any potential suspensions. So there might be some dips there, which I do love buying the dip on that because, like I said, don't think it's going to be a big suspension. Now, Naylor and Ty Felton are absolutely free. Love them as a late round flyer just to see what happens, who wins the job, who gets, the share of targets if Addison is to miss. So keep those guys in mind at the end of your drafts, or especially if you're in a deep league. Now, running back wise, I do not know who you want to draft. You got Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason here. And then didn't they just sign someone too? I did not prepare for that. Ty Chandler's still there, but no, I think they just signed a running back for some reason. But anyway, it's between Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. Aaron Jones was fumbling a lot last year, really struggled in like the most clutch moments, which sucks for him. Other than that, he was actually really good. And then Jordan Mason, we know has the pedigree to be a good running back in this league. So I like the idea of going and getting Jordan Mason super late. I think he's like running back 40 off the board, and Aaron Jones is once again right in that Jordan Addison, Hawkinson 5th round range, which is good value for a starting running back. He could definitely exceed running back 22 numbers. So this team's going to be good. I mean, we know Justin Jefferson's going to go out there and ball, and then other people are, and I'm not going to tell you it's going to be Addison or it's going to be Hawkinson, it's going to be Mason or Jones. I just want to buy pieces of this team because we don't know with a basically rookie quarterback coming in who is going to get that extra share. Now it's probably going to be Addison and Hawkinson to start, but someone's got to run the ball too. So O-line's great. Defense is even better. Somehow even losing Danielle Hunter, their defensive line stays amazing. So they pick up Jalen Hargrave in free agency and trade for Jonathan Allen, and they still have Jonathan Greenard. So Cashman and Pace, both going to get some great points for linebackers. Pace, I saw some hate on Pace on Twitter recently. For some reason, he was marked as the worst player on the Vikings or worst performance, which was weird. Dude had a breakout rookie season and hasn't stopped and looked back since. So Van Ginkel can also get you some numbers, but that's more of a situational role. And then I want to see what happens with this Kobe King kid. There's a chance that he ends up being something good. So if you are drafting for IDP, I love stashing a good linebacker, especially with this team. They always seem to churn out some good rookie linebackers. And then safety-wise, Metellus, we know him. He's been the nickel back kind of safety guy for a while, and he is putting up points. So go get him. Harrison Smith's 50 years old and still playing football. Can be a good fill-in here and there. And then the pickup of Isaiah Rodgers was phenomenal for them. Not underappreciated corner, I'll tell you that. But anything I missed there, guys?
No. I mean, I think you hit most things. I would say that, I mean, you brought up Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones. I like both of them, but Jordan Mason going in the 10th round is criminal for how much work he's probably going to get. Aaron Jones got about 70% of the carries last year. They tried it with Akers. They tried it with Chandler. Nothing really worked out. Jordan Mason was brought in, I think, to, I mean, at least kind of 50-50 this backfield. Depending on the score, it might be a 60-40 in favor of Jones, but I think Jordan Mason's going to get a lot of work. And if you can grab him as like your 4th running back, that is just going to be a moneymaker. So I would be going out of my way to get that. The legal stuff with Jordan Addison plus the JJ McCarthy coming in. I kind of feel like it's going to be Jefferson and Hawkinson too. Those are going to be your top 2 targets, especially with a rookie quarterback. I don't like how Jordan Addison's going above Olave and Pittman, and there's a bunch of other stuff. I think he's fine. I just, where he's going right now, I'd rather have those other guys. And then, I don't know, on defense, like Blake Cashman just seems to be the guy. It's, we thought Pace, when he was hurt, he was going to come back and kind of take over there, and he hasn't. So I think Blake Cashman is going to be undervalued again in drafts this year, and he's going to put up another really big season. That's all I had to add.
No, yeah. I mean, when Pace plays, he plays well. So, but yeah, Cashman swept up for him, which was really great. And yeah, the whole Addison thing, like he's a wide receiver too, at the end of the day. Like I'm not trying to draft a good, I'd rather take a shot on the wide receiver 1 of a shitty team at that point in the draft.
Yeah.
I think you're right. My only note is just like, man, I just am so curious what JJ McCarthy is going to be.
Right.
I mean, at full health, I would say, this could be a very, very good passing team, but like coming off of an injury, like how mobile is he going to be? Because that was always a part of his game at Michigan. Although he does have the Kevin O'Connell bump that as every quarterback seems to get, it's just like how much can he actually do? Like, I know that he's gotten a ton of reps. That's all the word has been from this mini camp so far, or this OTA so far, is like that he's had so many reps because like when he got hurt, he still was able to do the mental reps. I just like, I'm so curious. Like Justin Jefferson, I'm not worried at all, but just almost everything else on this roster, I'm just like, how is the offense going to gel? Like, is it going to be very smooth or is it going to be a little rocky for a little while? Because I just see a lot of panic selling after like week 2. If this offense doesn't look like usual KOC, people are going to be like, well, Sam Howell coming in, yada, yada. Like, they're going to be like, oh, panic. So, it might be a team that you can look at and be like, I think I could probably snipe some of these guys off of teams that are panic selling in week 2. I mean, I'm a chronic panic seller, so I can understand me maybe being the same way. But, like, I don't know. This team's very interesting to me because, as we said when we previewed the division, a lot of weird, rocky, don't know what's going on with these teams. So this is very interesting going into the season.
So some part of us like has to be worried about Jefferson. Is there any doubt in your mind that it's just like, what if McCarthy's more of a game manager and doesn't pepper Jefferson with targets? Like there's just a little doubt.
After last season, I'm never going to doubt Kevin O'Connell ever again for what he did with Sam Darnold and still making Justin Jefferson relevant. He could probably do it with a literal brick just out there.
I'm slightly worried. Like, I don't know where I would put him. Like, I would not draft him at 3. I think there are people I would draft him over him at 3. That's where he's at right now. I mean, you got Chase and Saquon above him, I believe. And it's like, that's about where I'm sitting there like, okay, well, what's next? What else do I have? There's Gibbs.
I want somebody else to win with that. I want somebody else to, like, if you win by that, I'll shake your hand and be like, damn, that was a great pick. But, like, I don't want to be the one holding Justin Jefferson when it's like, dude, like, you thought JJ McCarthy was going to make Justin Jefferson? Like, come on now. I don't want to be that guy holding that bag.
Yeah, I think depending on, the league format, I think like if I have – I don't think I'll ever make it here. Like if I have the 6th pick and Jefferson's there, I'm taking him. If I have the 5th pick, I'm debating depending on what the league is. It's like is Gibbs better off or if it's Gibbs and Jefferson, it depends on what the rankings are, right? Like is this a run heavy league or is this a PPR league? I'm CD over him, and then I put him right there with Puka. Like there's that little question mark in my mind. Like is Devontae going to be better? Is Jefferson going to get the targets that he needs? And like I know he will. But like, are they going to be good targets? You know what I mean? I don't know. There's just that small seed of doubt that I have.
I don't know. I don't even know if we're going to know by training camp. Like even when we do preseason games, how much is JJ McCarthy even going to be out there? Who knows?
Hopefully not a lot, considering what happened last year.
Exactly, but it's like, how do you work him in then? Like, are you just saving him for the game?
They're not playing any. Yeah, they're not playing any of their starters. If they do, it's one game and it's 1 quarter in the preseason just for them to like
last game, third game.
Yeah, either the last game or it's usually the 3rd game, I think. Or do they only do 3 now?
They only do 3 now, so
it's the 2nd to last one usually, yeah. And then the 3rd one's like all the practice squad players usually. So we'll see what happens. But I mean,
I'm not worried about JJ.
I hope he's good. I
would take CD above him. I would.
Yeah,
the case could be made. I don't like Puka where he's going.
The problem is he's so talented. It's kind of like when Megatron, even though he was attached to Matt Stafford, so it doesn't really matter. But just like it's just something like it doesn't matter who he's attached to. Apparently, he's just going to be good no matter what. So that's pretty exciting. All right, Minnesota Vikings 8.5, boys.
8.5.
Josh, the 9 and 8 theory you have is actually what Vegas is thinking.
All right, so they got Chicago on Monday night to start the season. Then they go Falcons, Bengals, Steelers, Browns, Eagles, Chargers, Lions, Ravens, Bears, Packers, Seahawks, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants, Lions, Packers.
I don't think I heard a bottom 5 team in there.
No, the NFC North's
There
got
was-
tough schedules
There
this
was like one during the beginning that I was like, man, they probably win that, but the rest
Cleveland.
of those, yeah, that was probably it. Either Cleveland or the Steelers were in there too. They might be the Steelers.
Falcons,
but,
Steelers, Browns. I think they could handle.
yeah.
Wow.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go with under. I want them to, and they could. I mean, they do have a great defense, and their defense does keep them in games. So they'll win some of those Seahawks type games.
Kept Sam Darnold in. But the thing is like you need JJ to be as good as Sam Darnold, and it's like I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore.
You're assuming that can be it. You're assuming that's
exactly
an easy ask. So yeah, you know,
right,
I'll go over. I'll go over because this team has got good players on all sides of the ball. So I'll go over, but it's just squeaking over.
Yeah, I'm going to go under because you basically have a rookie quarterback. That's my only.
Fair enough.
I don't hate that, and we don't even know how healthy he's even going to be during the season. So, I mean, fair game.
I mean, he has over a full year at least of recovery. That's good.
Plus, I have a suspicion the next team we talk about, you're definitely going over. So, Joe, Chicago Bears, take it away.
All right, well, I need to preface this first. I'm going to be a little long-winded because this is my favorite team, so I'm going to talk quite a bit.
All right.
I just got back from the Dominican Republic early yesterday morning, so a little raspy in the voice. I also have my Scott Fishbowl Chicago t-shirt on. The shirts are great this year, so highly recommend that everyone get one. But yeah, we are going to talk about the Bears here, and they went 5-12 last year, but the Bears did the most un-Bears thing ever and hired the best head coaching candidate in the cycle, and they got Ben Johnson. That's something Chicago Bears have never done. They always bargain shop. They always try to go get, a coach that's decent. But no, they went out and got Ben Johnson. I love the fact that we did that. He went out and he got Dennis Allen to be the defensive coordinator, a guy with head coaching experience. They got Eric Bieniemy as the running backs coach. Antoine Randall L came over from the Lions as the wide receiver coach. This coaching staff is awesome, and it seems like they are just going after everybody in camp, calling everyone out. So it's kind of a different attitude, and as a Bears fan, it's really cool to see. They also went out and they said, hey, our offensive line last year was terrible. So they go out, they get Joe Thuney and Jonah Jackson. They traded for them so they didn't have to overpay them too much in free agency. And then when free agency opened up, they got Drew Dahlman. So they're like, hey, the whole center of our line is going to be fine now. We got some guys in here. They're huge upgrades in pass protection. And which brings it to Caleb Williams. I mean, he was drafted to be the savior of this franchise. He looked okay at times last year. The whole team kind of fell apart halfway through the season. So a lot of question marks going on with Caleb Williams. He finished as a QB 16 last year. He really struggled. He holds onto the ball for way too long, which is something that we saw with Justin Fields and why Justin Fields is now a Jet. But Caleb's doing a lot of the same things. And say what you will, but sacks are a QB stat. He was sacked way too many times. So they go out, they upgrade the offensive line, and they say, hey, you have no more excuses. You have to get the ball out faster. And we'll see what happens this year. He's going at QB 11, which he absolutely could play into being a top 8 quarterback with the way this team is built. I'm just not 100% buying where that is. He's going ahead of Justin Herbert right now. I think I'd rather have Justin Herbert. He's going ahead of Dak. I would consider Dak at that point too. I like Caleb Williams, and I think he's going to have, like in Dynasty, I'm all in on Caleb Williams. In redraft, I would probably wait and take somebody else more established at this point. The biggest thing that this offensive line upgrade did was all these guys are studs at run blocking, and they didn't draft a running back until the 7th round. So DeAndre Swift, currently RB 2676 overall. He has never finished worse than 21st among running backs. And last time he played under Ben Johnson in 2022, he averaged 5 targets a game. If he can keep that up, that is, I mean, last year, Kamara and A-Chain would have been the only guys that would have been above that. So if we're seeing an increased workload with better run blocking and 5 targets a game, DeAndre Swift is going to massively outproduce his ADP and is probably going to be a league winner. I hate to say it because I think that term's overused, but DeAndre Swift definitely fits the category of this. And then you have Roshan Johnson and 7th round pick Kyle Monagai. one of these guys has the opportunity to thrive. We're going to assume that Ben Johnson is going to use the Jamal Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs thing. So there's probably going to be two backs here. Roshan backed up Bijan in college. He looked really good doing it. And he's kind of been limited to the short yardage role in the NFL. But he has a top 10 success rate with the carries that he has been getting. So if they can kind of open things up and get some better blocking out there, Roshan Johnson going at RB51, I do not hate it. If you are in a dynasty league, I would absolutely float a trade out for him or Kyle Mongai. Mongai's been turning heads in camp, but we got to see until the pads come on. He could steal the job. I still think it's Roshan right now who could have huge value. Now, at wide receiver, Keenan Allen was there last year, and Keenan Allen had 132 targets last year. DJ Moore had 140 targets, and Rome had 101 targets. So even with those guys getting over 100 targets, there's still 131 targets to go around here. So you would assume that it's going to be the Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams thing. I think that's too easy. I don't really like thinking that way. But I do like DJ Moore. I think he's going to have over 140 targets this year, which is kind of the baseline from last year. Ben Johnson came out and said they need to feed DJ Moore. So again, I think DJ Moore is going to have a solid season. He seems to be on the same page with Caleb Williams in camp. And then the other thing that I like is Ben Johnson called his ass out for showing his emotions on the field last year, which it was pretty bad last year. He just signed a massive contract and he was out pouting like little whatever. DJ Moore, hopefully you get that fixed because I will be drafting you this year. And then the biggest question mark is Rome Odunze at this point. He had a ton of uncatchable passes last year. The cool thing is it's clear that Caleb looks for him in pressure situations. He had 18 red zone targets. Almost 20% of his targets were in the red zone last year. So, if Rome can get, 30 of those targets and get up to like 135 targets, if he's still getting that red zone usage, he could be an animal this year. And you're getting me at wide receiver 35 and 63 overall. He's kind of on that tier where you really see the wide receivers start to fall off there. So you could do a lot worse than taking a shot on Rome where that's at. He finished as wide receiver 49 last year. We could see much better this year. So they go out and draft Luther Burden out of Missouri. Absolute stud. I can't believe we got him in the second round. The problem is he has not signed his contract yet, which is fine because a lot of second-round picks haven't. He participated in a rookie minicamp, but he has not participated in mandatory minicamp due to a soft tissue injury. Is it a contract thing? Is it a nagging hamstring thing? I don't know. They said he's going to be ready for camp. Let's hope he signs his contract. But if he's missing these reps, I am concerned about Luther Burden going into the season, especially when they signed Olamide Zaccheaus to be that slot receiver in this offense. So Burden in the slot, I think, will work in throughout the year. But if he has a slow start to camp or doesn't participate the first couple weeks, we might not see much good from Luther Burden this year. It might be very late in the season, and he's currently going at 117 overall. I don't hate taking a shot on him there, but definitely see if the participation's there for camp. Another camp injury that we're dealing with is Colston Loveland, who had his AC joint surgery on January 29th. Everyone says he's going to be good to go for training camp, but they're not going to push him. I don't know what that means. I've seen this play out because the Bears have drafted injured guys a lot in my history of fandom. So let's hope he's there for training camp. But if he is not and that surgery lingers, Cole Kmet's tight end 36 right now and 244 overall. They're talking about, there have been talks that he's involved in trade talks. It makes no sense with Loveland's injury. So if Colston Loveland's still struggling a little bit to get on the field during training camp, Cole Kmet offers you tremendous value to start the season at tight end 36. Colston Loveland's currently going at tight end 12. A little sketchy. I do not like that price point for him at all here. So my overall thoughts on this offense are we're really going to have to pay attention to training camp to get a real idea how this will shake out. I think this offense is going to start slow during the season. I mean, it's a brand new offense. They still have to learn how to play together in this offense. So it's going to start slow, and I think we'll see some improvement during the rest of the season. Caleb, he's going to go way too early. The smartest guy in your league, I put that in quotation marks, is going to draft Caleb Williams way earlier than I am interested in taking him. And DeAndre Swift and DJ Moore are absolutely going to outplay their ADP. So go draft them. What do you guys think about the offense?
I guess I'm just proud of you for not saying that it was all offensive line, because that's all Bears fans said yet last year was it's all offensive line, it's all offensive line. But we watched Caleb hold the ball way too long. That's what it came down to. He's got to get rid of that ball. Yes, the offensive line was bad. We all know that. And yes, that contributed to a lot of the sacks. But most of the time he had 5 seconds back there, and then he was like going out of the pocket and getting sacked because he just didn't make a decision. Now he's got 5 to 9 guys out there running good routes, hopefully. So I actually love the value of all of these guys, surprisingly. Like DJ Moore, I thought was a no touch for me just because he's going the highest. And it's, to me, this is reminiscent of, going and reaching for Christian Watson or what's his face, Jaden Reed, and situation like that where it's like, should I go for that or should I go for the lower guys? And I love Rome stock. I'm worried that it's going to berry bump or go up at some point. But currently at these buying points, for one, you're absolutely right about DeAndre Swift. That is a buy right now. I don't know why everyone was worried about that or is worried about that still. But even Caleb's ceiling is like, I know you said like he's going at right above Herbert, but like his ceiling is above Herbert's at this point. Like I know his floor can be way lower than we want it to be, but like, and I hate to be like the guy who's like, go get him, because like I don't want you to bank on that, right? Like I don't want you to be like Caleb is the guy. Like you're getting 2 guys. You're getting a Caleb and you're going and getting a Herbert. So you have some safety, right? Like you're not going and getting Caleb and then never thinking about quarterbacks again. But the ceiling is up there with this talent and this offensive line now, and with the offensive mind of Ben Johnson. I'm stoked to see this team, but it all comes down to, is Caleb that guy? And we're going to find out this year, more than likely.
We will find out. It's kind of wild because the drafts that I've been in, he's not going at QB 11. He's definitely going higher than that. So it'll be interesting to see what August looks like when this rolls around, because you're right. The ceiling is immense. The floor is very low. So
now, like if he'll be my Joe Burrow of last year, where Joe Burrow was going in like the 8th round as like the 6th, 7th quarterback off the board. And if he goes that high, I'm like, I'm not interested anymore. But if he's my 7th, 8th quarterback off the board at the end there, and it's the 8th round, or, I filled out the rest of my lineup to where I feel comfortable with my running backs and my receivers, I'll pick him up. I'm sure I'll end up with him in one league, especially if he's not going too high. But if he is going as the 5th quarterback or 6th quarterback off the board way too early in the 5th round, when everybody does the QB run and everyone bites on it, I'm not touching that like at all. Like I'll wait and see what's left over.
Yeah.
Okay. I only have one question. This isn't going to be a damper on the parade. This is just me throwing it out there and seeing how you all are going to fill in the blanks here. So obviously Keenan Allen left, took 121 targets with him. I'm looking at it now. DJ Moore had 140 targets last season. Next highest was Rome with 100. How do the 120 fit now? Like who is getting those 120 if you had to put those onto other people?
I think they're actually pretty much split evenly between the 4 guys that are going to be out there often enough. The 3 wide receivers and 1 of the tight ends. Like it'll be, split. That portion will be split between Loveland and Kmet. So like, what's 120? What 30 targets per? So 30 targets to the tight end group, 30 targets to Burden, 30 targets to DJ Moore. Like I don't see DJ Moore going out there and getting 1,400 yards and being wide receiver 5 on the year. More than likely, it's going to be more of a spread, right? I don't know. Like you said, with Burden's soft tissue issue, that could linger. But if, like, let's just say everyone's healthy, I think Burden gets a few extra targets, and I mean that might look a lot different. We have no idea what that's going to look like with this team. I think a lot of those targets, like specific targets, go to Adunze just because, body type and, being the tall guy. I think Adunze takes the leap. I think DJ Moore goes in between what he's done the last 2 years in Chicago, 11, 1,200. I don't know what the touchdowns look like, 6, 7, 110, 15 catches. Like, it's going to be great. I mean, it's going to end up being wide receiver 1 category, and he's going in like the, mid wide receiver 2s. So,
yeah. I don't know. I think I agree with what Josh said. I do think Zacchaeus is going to get more work than we're focusing on right now. I mean, he was pretty good.
That right there is what I'm like. I'm not mad about it because like I'm a Burden guy, so like I hope that he fits in right away. But I'm thinking Zacchaeus is going to be siphoning targets off of other people that we want to be successful, and I don't know if I want those targets going to Zacchaeus at the end of the day.
No, we probably don't. And it might be a Zacchaeus at the start of the season, and then Burden kind of takes over at the end of the season as he gets more into it. But the other thing is, I don't think they want Caleb throwing as much as he did last year, because there were some games where he was just whipping it. Yeah, and I think they're going to try to limit his passes quite a bit. So hopefully that 130 is declined just by better passes in better games in general.
I guess just what I got my nervousness is just like, well, they got rid of Keenan Allen, which I think we all agree probably a good call. He's probably going to be too expensive to put on this team, but they didn't really add anything that is a comparable talent. So my worry is that if they just focused on DJ Moore, like if you blanket DJ Moore, what is after that? You have Rome unproven. You have Zacchaeus, who I don't think we can fully trust yet, and then Colson Loveland, Komet, and Burden, which I don't know how big of a workload. So my nervousness is that if they focus on taking DJ Moore out, what does that mean for this team's offense and Caleb as a whole? I don't know. It just makes me a smidge nervous, I guess, when they built it this way.
I'm not going to do that.
They could focus on the tight ends more with Ben Johnson outside of Waldron, because, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be – that's why Camp is going to be –
too. Yeah, he has a different
Camp
system.
Is going to be so important to watch because, like, as of right now, it could be anything. I mean, Burden could show out and demand 80 of those targets. I don't really know how to project this at this point.
That part I don't know. We're just asking questions here. Just a couple of guys asking questions.
Just a couple of dudes. All right, I'm going to run through the defense real quick here. There's a lot of guys on this defense that people are going to be drafting, so – Montez Sweat, horrible season last year, 5.5 sacks, pretty injury riddled, appears to be healthy this year. So Dennis Allen, he likes those aggressive fronts. We could see him be a great kind of bounce back candidate, and you're probably going to get good value on him this year. Gervin Dexter was really solid in the defensive line role last year. He's been lining up all over the line. He did work at nose tackle. He's done work at edge. It looks like he's dropped weight. So we could see him kind of break out, especially with Jarrett and Billings healthy. He could kind of be moved around there, and we could see Gervin Dexter be a guy that in true position IDP kind of blow up because he might be getting those edge rusher snaps. We'll have to see how it works out in camp, but I like the trend that is doing. Tremaine Edmonds, again, Dennis Allen loves to blitz linebackers. So I would like to see Tremaine Edmonds get in on those. We could see some more big play points from him. TJ Edwards, always going to be a stud. Jaquan Brisker is an interesting one. He suffered concussions the 2 previous years, but he came out and said that he's not going to change his play style, which is really good because when he is healthy, he puts up points. So draft Brisker, no problem. Byard is going to be a value because he's that savvy vet, but he had his career high 130 tackles last year. Added sacks. He had some interceptions to go along with it. So big fan of Byard. And then my X factor is Kyler Gordon. Dennis Allen says he has a vision for how to use Kyler Gordon. And the Saints lined up in nickel most of the time, like most defenses do. So Kyler Gordon could kind of play that box cornerback safety. I don't even know if that's ever been done before. But with his athleticism, he could make some noise this year. So I like him as well.
Yeah, well, I love what the Bears did and really bid on the offense to start the draft. Great drafting. Would have loved to see them pair someone with Montez Sweat. I feel like you're paying all this money to Montez and not pairing him with someone of his caliber to where there's a little bit more worry. Like Adengawo, however you pronounce his name, is good, but it's just, there's no fear there, right? Like I'm hoping that the two of them can work in tandem decent enough. Obviously the interior line is great, so I'm not worried about that at all, but just would have loved to see one more edge rusher. Like I was hoping, I don't even care which rookie it was, but Easy would have been a great fit here. But the Loveland Burden picks, I mean, how do you get mad at a fun offense? I mean, they're trying to sell some tickets too and put some fireworks up. So
I don't think they had any idea that Burden would be there. So yeah, it was kind of a gratuitous pick, but
yeah, that was probably meant to be an edge. That was probably meant to be an edge draft pick. And they were like, well, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could see him signing Clowney or, someone that gets cut as some added.
Is Von Miller still out there?
It's a
I
good
think so.
question.
I think he is. And if that would just be great because you need a rotational guy would be great to have just
I was thinking like Matthew Judon too, right? Isn't he still
Judon, I think, is out there too. Yeah. Yeah. No, just have a rotational piece that you can flip in there and, strike some fear into the hearts of the left tackle instead of the right tackle.
No.
Joe, the only question I have about this defense, how are the Austin Booker shareholder meetings going? How are you all?
Oh, we'll see, man.
Going?
He's
preseason
darling, right? Preseason darling. He's my Ian Wheeler, man. He's the preseason darling. We'll see. I mean, he was rocking.
I just didn't know if it was a little lighter this year than it was last year. I know you had a lot of shares, and it was a big turnout last year, but I don't know. See how the vibes are.
I always buy those late round edge rushers because you never know, man. You never
know. Okay.
Crazy. It's going to be a fun team.
I hope so. This will be a good division if they can hold up their end of the bargain. 8.5, same as the Vikings.
All right. Vikings, Lions, Cowboys, Raiders, Commanders, Saints, Ravens, Bengals, Giants, Vikings, Steelers, Eagles, Packers, Browns, Packers, 49ers, Lions.
I mean, got some layups.
Yours is better than the Vikings schedule.
If y'all can't make something out of this, I mean, I know y'all got the fourth place schedule, so obviously you got the worst of the teams. But if y'all can't make 9 wins out of this, it's time to have some hard questions.
Yeah.
So I'm going over because if they don't, we're going to be talking about some things next offseason.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little worried about this, but I'm going to go with over as well just because of my, secondary fandom due to Joe.
We're playing like the Giants and the Browns and the Saints.
Yeah,
there was a bunch of layups in there.
There was 3 or 4 teams that were layups, and then it's like you got to go win some division games. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
There's no.
If they can't do that, then.
Yeah. And I mean, I know they can beat a couple of these guys, but it's like you got to go out there and beat the Lions at home. You got to strike some fear in the heart. That's what it's got to be. The Packers, Browns,
Ben Johnson revenge game.
That's fun.
Ben Johnson revenge games against
the
Lions.
Yep. I'm going over because they're my boys. I think they got it.
Had a feeling. Well, I've gone over both times, but 9-8 is really not. I don't think that's weird in this division, to be honest. I think that's about par.
That's what I said. I think all these teams could go 9-8, barring a catastrophic injury or something that changes the complexion of it. I think all 4 could go.
I agree. All right, next one is just kidding, not my Green Bay Packers. Look, this is just an odd team. I really don't know what else to tell you. They didn't really add a whole lot to this team this offseason. But we'll go through some of those additions to try to make sense of things. So Jordan Love is going as QB 17, 128 overall. Feels about right. It's about the 12th, 13th round. I don't know if I fully trust him. I definitely think he would be my QB2 on a team. I don't think I could go into the season unless my team was just stacked and I grabbed him at the very end and then went and grabbed Cam Ward after that or something. I think that's the only way I would feel anywhere good about that, but probably stay away from Jordan Love. Tight ends, Tucker Kraft's going as tight end 13, 136 overall. Luke Musgrave is tight end 44. So clearly ADP and the rest of the folks out there think that this is competition's over. Look, Tucker Kraft had an up and down season. The games that he hit really well because he was scoring touchdowns, you felt great that you put him in there. But there were other games where you're like, damn it, why did I even think this was going to work? And that's kind of the Packers' experience in a nutshell as far as putting any of their skill players in last season, any of them. Other than Josh Jacobs, you were like, man, I put Jaden Reed. He got 0 points this week. What the hell happened? That's just kind of the Packers' experience. So I'd probably stay away from trusting Tucker Kraft, but at the same time, if you don't get one of those top 5 tight ends, he's just the kind of guy that he's going to win you a week or lose you a week. If you want consistent points, grab one earlier. If you're in for the roller coaster ride, Tucker Kraft might be your guy. Wide receiver wise, this is a total and utter shit show, and ADP is proving that out right now. So Matthew Golden is going as wide receiver 43. Jaden Reed is going as wide receiver 44, back to back. I think that should tell you about how much they trust either one of these guys to be the wide receiver 1 on this team. Romeo Dubs is going as wide receiver 67. Dontavian Wicks is going as wide receiver 87. And Christian Watson is going wide receiver 125. He's looking to be out until about week 12, so probably not going to be a guy on your roster this season. I would star him in the free agent pool just so, like, in case he doesn't get drafted or, somebody picks him up, put him in an IR spot, whatever. But if he's still in your free agent pool, maybe a guy you can keep an eye on just in case when he's coming back from injury. But as far as, like, giving you a recommendation about these wide receivers, I don't have one. I don't think you should take any of these guys. If they're late enough, sure. But we're talking the 7th round for Matthew Golden and Jaden Reed, and I can't tell you for sure that they're going to return that value for you. Like, I know that they could. If we could trust anyone on this offense, I think they could definitely get you to that point. However, week in and week out, I think you're going to have some weeks where you're like, dude, Matthew Golden, 25 points, what do you think? And then there's other weeks that you have in your DK lineup and you spent $4,200, you're going to be like, what the he didn't get any points. What the hell happened? And so I don't know if I could give you a recommendation. I think if I had to go by trust meter, I think they're going to try to prove a point with Matthew Golden, so I'd probably go with him just because they just got him in the first round. I think that they're going to want to make you think that they made the right call there, so he might be getting a few extra targets. But Jaden Reed's always got good out of the slot too, so that's not a bad one. Dubs is just too inconsistent, and Wicks is too inconsistent. And then they drafted Savion Williams, but I think he's going to be a punt kick returner these first years, so I don't think he's going to be fantasy relevant. Maybe in the future, we'll have to see. Again, they have a bunch of B-plus guys on this team. Anybody could be a star. Running backs, Josh Jacobs, 10th running back overall, 24th. That feels great. I mean, that's back into the second round. I think if you got the number 1 overall pick in Jamar Chase and then went around and got Josh Jacobs at the turn, I think you feel great going into your draft thinking that you got Chase and Jacobs back-to-back. So I think that's pretty great. Marshawn Lloyd is RB 61, 197, so he's really going in that handcuff range, and I think that's actually pretty smart, a smart place to grab him if you have Josh Jacobs. I would say if you don't have Josh Jacobs, just leave him, let that guy handle it. But if you have an extra spot on your roster, you might grab him because he is a very, very valuable handcuff without knowing exactly how this running back room is going to shake out. I'll quickly go over to the defense because, boys, there really isn't a whole lot to talk about here. The 2 stars are obviously McKinney, who really returned his value last season with those interceptions and sacks, and it really looked like he's ramping up to have a really good season again this year coming off of that. And then Keyshawn Nixon, honestly, even though he's a cornerback, he did return some really good value. I don't know exactly how that's going to work this season. If it's going to be the exact same way that it worked out, they did add Nate Hobbs to fill in for Jair Alexander. So the, targets may, because they went away from Jair, obviously, to go to Keyshawn Nixon. So I don't know if it's going to even out now that Nate Hobbs is there. But Quay Walker, no. Lucas Van Ness, no. I'm not going with any of these guys.
No Quay Walker? He's been a fine player.
Yeah, I mean, if you want the 30th ranked linebacker, sure. Well, yeah, what are we talking about? We're talking about fantasy.
Well, I'm just saying he's kind of a cancer to the team. So that's why.
Well, that's also true. I don't know. I tried to go through and try to make up something that would make these defensive players like me happy about it, but I just don't because they kind of cannibalize themselves. Like Isaiah McDuffie got a ton of tackles last season, but I don't think he's going to start.
That was only during injuries, though. Only during.
I know, and that's why I don't. Okay. What did he finish last year, Joe?
I mean, he didn't take over the job until halfway through the season, but once he got it, he was putting up top 15 numbers.
Okay. Well, if you want to trust the Green Bay Packers to remain committed to Edgerrin Cooper, sure.
It's not even that for me. It's that I want defenders on this team because, as you said, there's 2 stars, right? So there's a couple of good players on this team that can make some plays. The rest are kind of dog
guys.
Shit, right?
I would agree with you if the numbers actually bore it out at all. Like, they did nothing last season. None of them did, other than Edgerrin Cooper. Joe, you're right at the end of the season. If you want to highlight that, sure. But other than that, it's McKinney and it was Keyshawn Nixon. Those are the only 2 guys that put up numbers in this on this defense. The rest of these guys didn't really do anything that would make you want to draft them this year.
Quay missed 4 games and he still had 100 tackles and 2.5 sacks. I'm good with that. I mean, that would have been a 140, 150 tackle season. Well, probably 130, 135, 140. I mean,
again, if you want, back in LB2 on your team. I mean, he's a good guy to have on your bench.
Yeah, because you have to roster
linebacker.
You have to roster linebacker ones, and then there's linebacker twos. Like there's all kinds of positions you need to fill in.
He's not even that. I'm saying he's
you
a
can play
bye
like
week
5 of
fill-in.
them, depending on the league.
He is a good bye week fill-in. He's probably not going to get drafted that way, but he is a good bye week fill-in. No, this defense is it's good as a whole.
All right.
The numbers are not great for any one person. It's just not
fireball bet on Quay Walker. Pick the number of tackles he gets this year.
Well, okay, that's fantasy finish. Not even linebacker 30.
Okay, I'll take that.
Okay, that should be pretty easy. I don't know.
Yeah,
I do like Nate Hobbs. He was such a G for the Raiders. If he can go in and
I think he could be right. We don't know how it's going to go though this year. Like,
that was
it's sketchy as hell. But if he can put up that like big play stuff that he was doing for the Raiders, then he could be a steal as well.
You're right. They don't have Jair either, so that is going to change this defense because obviously they wouldn't throw on him. But I don't know.
I'm just that guy that always has Nate Hobbs in every league. So
you really are. Do y'all have any offensive things? I know the defense.
Sorry, we didn't get there. So I think what you said about, I mean, you pretty much nailed the wide receiver room, right? Like draft them, sure, but like who the fuck knows what's going to happen, right? Like pick one if you want, but like I don't think you're going to enjoy the ride. I will say I'm in on Matthew Golden in the long run in redraft. Like if you want to take him, like you're going to end up getting Xavier Worthy numbers. Like, and I'm not talking about the good ones. I'm talking about the 2 catches for 73 yards and a touchdown. You're going to be real excited. You're going to play him the next week. He's going to go for 2 catches for 21 yards and you're going to be mad. Like that's just, I think that's what you're going to end up with. This team's too well-versed. I do love Jordan Love. I will draft Jordan Love as either my starter or my second quarterback, however the league shakes out. But I'm okay with Jordan Love. I mean, I think that he's not far off from being what QB he was 2 years ago. I mean, nothing's really changed. They just stopped letting him run, and the team obviously had Josh Jacobs, so they didn't need to throw as much. So I think there's
part of last season too. So
yeah, but I mean, it was mostly. I think the Jacobs coming in just stopped them. They basically said, "Love, you don't need to run anymore. We have a guy for that." Basically, because that was what was missing before Jacobs joined. So I do think we can be QB 8 at the end of the year though. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean,
it is. I mean, he probably has the upside for it, but like him versus like Baker Mayfield, I'd probably just take Baker Mayfield.
No, but I'm talking about QB 8 at drafted as whatever 14, 16, wherever he's
going.
I see what you mean. Like he could end up like ceiling's QB 8, which maybe even higher. But like I mean, he can throw for 4,000 yards. I mean, this wide receiver room can provide it. And if they get into a spot with these teams that they're going to be playing against, like, and their defense not being the best in the division, probably the worst in the division, arguably, I think they're going to be throwing a lot, actually, at least in these 6 games they have to play. So just point that out.
I like it. I'm going to plant my flag here. Matthew Golden is going to be a steal. Now, if you look at his overall ADP, I'm not a huge fan of it because there's some studs going around him. You got Pacheco going around him. You got some other guys going around him that's like, I would rather maybe have them, like Aaron Jones, Khalil Shakir is going around him. I don't know. But Matthew Golden, I could see a path for him to get at least 120 targets in this offense. Now, none of them had more than 85 last year. That was Dontavian Wicks. Dubs had 72. I could see Golden getting 120. Like you said, Billy, they're going to make a statement with him. They drafted him in the first round.
I think you could be right there. I don't know. But
guys, okay, time out. You're talking about Jameson Williams, but you could have just drafted him a round earlier. Like, just go draft Jameson Williams if that's what you're wanting. Like, you want someone who's
I want Matthew Golden here because I think he's going to get a ton of targets.
In the ADP you guys are talking about, you're high. I don't. You said 6th round.
78. So 7th round.
6.5, 7. Yeah, no, still no. Go grab Jameson one round ahead of him. Like if you want that guy, there you go.
I mean, Diggs is going right behind him. Josh Downs and
get your quarterback here. Go get your quarterback here. This seems like a quarterback round.
I'm just saying, a lot of people do not like Matthew Golden here, and outside of the casuals that are going to be like he's a first-round pick, he's probably going to slide in drafts a lot of the time. especially if you're in rookie drafts coming up. I think Matthew Golden is a fantastic value, and I think he's going to get a lot more play than a lot of people think he is. So,
see, I saw him at like 90 on the rankings I was looking at, and I was like, that sounds about right. I'm okay with that.
He's
like,
wide receiver 43. I mean, shoot your shot at that point. I don't think he's going to be the Jameson Williams burner role. That's not anything he's ever played before. He's been a possession guy. He's got decent hands, and yeah, he can burn a couple deep shots. I just think he's set up for a really good season in this offense.
Set up for 3 good catches a game.
All right, don't draft him, dude. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to. The other guy I like is Marshawn Lloyd. At the value you're getting, they drafted him to be the backup to Josh Jacobs. They don't want him to play 100% of the snaps. I think Marshawn Lloyd has good upside where you're drafting him.
Wow, that was the lightest Marshawn Lloyd thing I've ever heard. I was actually quite shocked at Billy not going after him there.
I mean, at a certain point, I have to be honest. Like Josh Jacobs for this year, I mean, it's Josh Jacobs.
Is that dude?
Like, it's Marshawn Lloyd, I think, in the future, but I don't think it's not this year.
I think he's going to be one of those guys we look back at and we're like, oh, yeah, that wasn't it.
What the hell are you talking about, Jameson Williams? He's going at wide receiver 24.
Y'all,
Golden's going at 43. That's not a round earlier.
I mean, what numbers are those in draft? Like those are just wide receiver numbers. 20 picks ahead. Two rounds.
42 for Jamo.
Yeah, Jameis is going at 42 and
78
going at 78.
I don't know what rankings y'all are looking at.
I'm using Underdog.
Underdog's rankings are the most wild rankings out there.
I'm on Fantasy Pros.
There are drafts that are happening.
Are you on PPR?
Yeah.
You got completely different rankings, man. I guess I've just
2025 PPR ADP.
If the rankings you're looking at have Jameson Williams and Matthew Golden in the same spot, that is not.
They don't. They have Jameson Williams at 62, and they have Matthew Golden at like 110, and that's, I feel like, probably more accurate.
Maybe. I don't think so, but maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, everyone's on Jamo's dick this year, dude.
Yeah, I don't like that where you said Jamo's at. That's not fun. I like him at 60. That sounds great. 40 sounds I want him.
I don't think the Lions are just going to run it back. I mean, we saw what happened with the Eagles when they lost both coordinators. Like, it did take a minute to get back into the swing of things.
I actually think that with this team and Dan Campbell being the head coach that he is, I think that they're not gonna feel it as bad as others.
Well, here's the thing: we can get into that team.
Let's go through the schedule for the Pack.
Okay,
quick.
The over/under is 9.5. By the way.
All right, they got the Lions, Commanders, Browns, Cowboys, Bengals, Cardinals, Steelers, Panthers, Eagles, Giants, Vikings, Lions, Chicago, Broncos, Chicago, Ravens, Vikings.
Okay, tough finish, by the way.
I actually think under. I think I'm under, which I did not think that going.
Can't believe they got better odds than Chicago and the Vikings. Like one or the other, sure, but
by
like
one game. But yeah, they
still though.
Joe,
they've got a couple cakewalks here. I'm gonna go over.
Okay,
I think they have a good start to the season because some of those games sounded pretty easy early on, but that back half of that season, that could be like they might run the division. Well, barring what happens with the Lions,
I don't think they're going to run the division. Like I
meant for the start because there was some pretty cakewalk games in that first 5 games. Like they could go 4-1 to start the season, and could be at the top of the division. But I think that back half of the season is going to hurt.
That's probably true. Okay, let's get into the favorite in this division, and that would be the Detroit Lions. We already started talking about him a little bit. I'll just get the Jared Goff stuff out of the way. He's going as QB 14 right now, 117. It's rankings that I'm seeing. I do think that's about right. I feel like Jared Goff is very consistent. He's a guy that I wouldn't mind having as my quarterback going into the season. I know this is a heavy run team, but it's also a heavy touchdown team. They did lose Ben Johnson, so we don't exactly know how much that's going to affect everything, but I don't feel like it's going to be as different. Like it's not like a OC is getting in here and changing everything up. I think they're going to be keeping things relatively the same, just to try to keep this team chugging right along as they did last season. So, yeah, QB 14, 117. That's fine by me. I'll take him there if he falls that way in the draft.
Yeah,
Joe,
Goff's always good value.
Yeah. Joe, who you want to talk about?
I'll talk about the running backs. Jahmyr Gibbs, RB3, 6 overall. Stud, absolute stud. If you have him in Dynasty, I do not hate the idea of selling him at this point, because a lot of what he did through the playoffs last year was with David Montgomery hurt. I'm not saying that Jahmyr Gibbs is not a stud, but we definitely saw an elevated workload for him, which he took full advantage of. So you could ride the hot hand and trade him for some good pieces. I wouldn't hate that, but where he's going in redraft, RB3, very solid player. He's going to get you the receptions. He's got the explosive speed. He's going to have some monster games. So I like Gibbs. Probably not the value pick there, but he's going to return what you pay for him. And then David Montgomery, the always undervalued David Montgomery, running back 23, going at 70 overall. David Montgomery is always going to be an RB2 for you, and he's always going to kick ass in that role. I don't know why people resist drafting David Montgomery all the time. He's absolutely solid. So go get David Montgomery as your RB2, and you'll be happy because of it. He is going only 6 picks higher than DeAndre Swift, which we talked about earlier. I think I would rather have Swift, but it's a toss-up.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm cool with having both of them on my team as my RB2, RB3. Like, if you really did wait on running backs, that's a great 2 and 3 to have. Like, Montgomery is one of those guys that we've talked about it several times on this podcast. But if you're new to it, we love David Montgomery, and I don't know why no one else does. One of those consistent running backs.
And then you can back him up with Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, or Najee Harris. It's running backs have value this year.
Yeah, there's some depth too. I love it. Yeah, Amon-Ra is kind of the same with Gibbs. I love him as a player, but and he can be wide receiver 2, 3, 4 out there back to back wide receiver 3 seasons. I mean, I just hate having to draft him in the first round. I'd love him back half of the draft. He's right in the middle of the first round, sitting there questioning if that's worth it. That's when I start should I just be grabbing a running back at this point? I already missed out on the top 5 or top 4 wide receivers. But at the end of the day, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. You know what's going to happen. Did go over have a knee cleanup or something going on, which I don't think that's anything to worry about, but it's still something to note. But yeah, Amon-Ra, like I said, I don't think Dan Campbell's going to change anything. I think this offense remains the same. Obviously, they don't have Ben Johnson, but I think they'll figure it out fine. And then our discrepancy on Jameson Williams, that all depends on where he's going. I love how involved he got last year, had what we thought he could be this entire time, and he still didn't get to play a full season. So I am looking forward to the first full season of Jameson Williams, hopefully. And yeah, I think the sky's the limit for this guy, literally. I think he might be able to touch the sky if he runs fast enough. And then behind that, I know everybody, the Isaac Tesla, Elon's brother. I don't think anyone should even be thinking about this guy. I know in dynasty leagues, you're talking about him. He is going to be a punt returner, kick returner, probably more than likely. And Tim Patrick and what's the guy we still got?
Khalif Raymond.
I want to say Craig Reynolds, which you didn't talk about. I'm pretty upset about.
No, I left Craig Reynolds out of that one.
Khalif Raymond, those two will be getting that 3rd spot. And then Sam Laporta, I was really hoping we'd see a dip here after his bad year, or off year, I should say. It was really more of the beginning of the year was rough, and then he actually kind of made up for it at the end. But yeah, so still going at tight end in the top 5 tight ends, which I was really hoping for an Ingram, Kelsey above him, and then I could just kind of slip in and get Laporta as the tight end 7 on the board, because I do think there's a change here where we go see a lot more of him a lot sooner. So this team's going to have to throw as well. These teams they're playing against, especially their division, is going to be tough games. So go get, honestly, you want all these guys on your team. It's just when does it make sense, right?
So I looked it up. The new offensive coordinator, his name's John Morton. He was the passing game coordinator for the Denver Broncos last 2 seasons. Obviously,
I love that.
Well, I mean, we just did the whole thing about Bo Nix last week, and I feel like he had a really good season and was pretty good. So I honestly think that's not bad. He was also working under Dan Campbell.
Did we just have the opposite argument? Did we just have the opposite argument last week about Bo Nix? You said he had a good season.
I mean, he was good for a rookie. He's not going to throw 4,000 yards. He definitely not now.
Because he lost his guy.
Yeah.
I was thinking more so that the season before Bo Nix got there, that was not a good passing season.
That was pretty brutal, but that was just brutal all the way around with Russell Wilson. That's true.
I'll tell you what, though.
It still is for the Giants, though.
All of these ADPs scare me, except for David Montgomery. They really do, because I don't think
my Jameson Williams ADP does not scare me. Yours does. Wherever you guys are seeing 40. That's
well, if he's really going to wide receiver 42, I mean, that's one pick behind DJ Moore that's above DK Metcalf and a bunch of other things. I like JMO. We've always been huge fans of JMO on here, but I am very worried about this team in general. Billy, you're right. You don't lose both coordinators and just like keep the train rolling. I think that's what they want to do, but they also lost Frank Ragnow, their center, who was an absolute stud. And the vibes are just, a little, I don't know, on this team. I wouldn't be surprised if they finished down, way down this year.
Oh,
way down.
That's a Bears fan if I ever heard one.
No, it's not. I love the Lions. I don't. I just don't think you just replace what you guys were doing. I mean, you can draw the same X's and O's, but I don't know.
I don't see the dip being that big. All right, so on to the defense. Not a whole lot changed, but it all changed because none of these guys got to play last year. They were all injured. Aiden Hutchinson and Davenport on the edge, Aleem McNeil and DJ Reader in the middle, and they did draft Tyleik Williams to be that kind of defensive tackle fill-in. Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, kind of an edge rusher, offensive outside linebacker. And then Terrion Arnold, Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, DJ Reed from the Jets is really the only notable starter on this team. And they did get Avonte Maddox from the Eagles too, which was good for depth for their corner roles. I absolutely love this defense. I think if they actually play football together this year and don't lose 16 of them or whatever it was last year, this could be really good for them. Hopefully Aiden Hutchinson, I'm assuming he's supposed to be back. I mean, I haven't heard anything against it, which Joe saw someone draft him in like the first round in the IDP league. So I think he's back. So excited about that. And I'm excited about, once again, this is another team where I'd love to have seen them draft an edge rusher to complement their stud, but they did not. But I think this defense just finally gets to play as a whole unit, and I'm just excited to see that for the Lions.
Yeah. And getting Menofonwu over to Miami, Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph obviously are studs. They will probably be even more studs this year. Jack Campbell, we're probably fully going to see a starting season from him, so that will be exciting.
Yeah, I mean, this defense can be good. This is what I'm saying. Like the Packers have the worst defense in the league compared in the division. Sorry,
in the league, three. Packers suck.
They should have just went and got Myles Garrett. We kept talking about it. They should have just went and did it.
Would have been
fun. Also, just to round it out, the defensive coordinator for this team is Kelvin Shepard. Long-time NFL player. Been with the staff since 2021. He was a linebackers coach, outside linebackers coach, and then defensive coordinator. So
that's that kind of dog that Jack Campbell brings up in the system.
Yeah. So in my opinion, actually, that means things are going to stay relatively similar than like bringing in someone from the outside. Like maybe the offense is going to be a little bit different, but like this makes me think that the defense is going to be pretty close to exactly what they did.
I love when people bring people up and I really want to do Staley to go to the Eagles. I wanted, for one, a lot of other people, but like I like that the Eagles offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore shipped out to the Saints, and then they boosted up their quarterbacks coach. It's always nice to see some people build internally. Obviously, I'm relating to the Eagles because I haven't talked about them yet, so had to bring them up 1 hour in.
Had to get them.
Yeah. About time. I mean, I had brought up a couple corners that came from the teams. I think this team might have a game where they're a little shaky, but these pieces are all just so explosive. I don't think they have to worry about it.
True. All right. The over-under for the Lions is 10.5.
Wow.
All right. Packers, Bears, Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Chiefs, Buccaneers, Vikings, Commanders, Eagles, Giants, Packers, Cowboys, Rams, Steelers, Vikings, Bears.
Dude. I guess it makes sense. They were the best team in the division last year, but they got
That's
the
under.
worst. I'm going to take the over because it's the Lions and they can compete with all those teams.
It's still like 11-6. That feels about right. That's not crazy.
Like I said, I think all these teams could go get 9 wins, but I think that I got to go with my guys, and this is the for all intents and purposes the second best team in the NFC.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going over as well. So, okay, I guess after all of this, Joe, then who do you have winning this division? Just say it out loud, Joe. Say it out loud.
Who do I have winning this division?
So you have Vikings under, you have Lions under, and then you have.
I have everyone finishing at 9 wins. It's just going to be a tie across the board.
Oh, okay. It's going to be a mass tiebreaker of 4.
Did the Packers go under as well? So that's 9 wins.
No, the Packers. He went over, and Chicago he went over. So it's either Chicago or the Packers. You have winning this division. Joe.
It could actually still be. It could actually still be the Lions. They could get 10 wins and win the division. He didn't say that.
That's true. Yeah.
Or wait, with the Packers 9.5?
Yeah, so it would be Packers Lions tied.
Packers Lions tied at the lead. Is that what you have, Joe, written down?
Yeah. Not written down, but
will you just say it? Will you just say it, dude?
Who do you have winning the division, Joe? Just say it out loud.
Lions.
Okay.
He's doing the Josh reverse thing where like I can't say that out loud. I can't say that out loud.
I know. Even though he backed himself almost into the
No. I'm not. I've been through the hope thing with the Bears.
You see why we think it is, though, right? Like you see why.
Because you have the Lions at 10 wins, you have the Packers at 10 wins, you have Chicago at 9 wins, and you have the Vikings, or at least at 8 wins. So, like, you see how we think that you're just leaning a little bit towards, Chicago.
We're talking about one game. We're talking about a game.
No.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I do not think the Bears are going to win the division if that's what you're trying to get.
It seems like that's what you think, though. That's why
it felt like that's where we were headed. But okay, all right, Joe. I trust you. If you say that's how you truly feel, then that's fine.
I think the Bears are going to start very slow to begin the year, and there's going to be a big storyline there, and then they'll start playing a little bit better at the end of the year.
Last year. Oh, you trying to steal the Eagles storyline from 2024? I like that. A couple loses, and people are all of a sudden talking, wow, maybe this team isn't very good. 9 straight wins later.
It could happen.
Okay, interesting. Well, I have the Lions. I think Josh has the Lions, too, just based off what we
did
here.
have the Lions, yes, 100%.
All right, let's do a couple of props just to make things a little bit more interesting. So Justin Jefferson's over-under, 1,250 yards. Do we think that J.J. McCarthy is getting him to 1,250?
Yes.
All Jefferson has to do is stay healthy. It doesn't matter if J.J. McCarthy does. He's getting 1,250. Jefferson could play 15 games and still get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sam Howell could get him to 1,200.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right. Next one is Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Lions, 1,100.
Under.
I'd take it. He's hit 1,100 3 years in a row. 1,100 even?
Well, it's 1,100.5, so it's
okay. 1,101. Got it.
Yeah, either 1099 or 1,101.
Changes everything. No, I'm just kidding. No, yeah, absolutely, absolutely over. Because as we've noticed, this guy is the guy. And once again, without an injury, there's no way we go under 11. I think if anything, he can do better than he ever has in his career. Especially if they're in a position where they have to go out there and throw the ball a lot. Usually, it's pretty well rounded, but Amon-Ra always gets his.
I actually agree. I think they're going to go over as well. 1,400 with what they were doing. 1,100 seems exactly right on par. DJ Moore is at 975.5.
That's fun.
I feel like I got to go over just because I believe in the Bears, but I feel like we're going to be right. We're going to be right there.
I would never bet on this one mainly, but I will say over just because. Well, there's all these new additions to the team.
It's true.
Adunze finally having his role away from Keenan Allen, it's just terrifying.
If we think that the targets are if he goes for 160 target wise, holy shit, he definitely can do it.
Yeah, I assume he breaks 1,000. Honestly, at the minimum. I mean, I quoted him at 1,200. I think that's
catastrophic season if he's not. To be honest, I hate to say that too.
I mean, he had 966 last year with whatever bullshit they had going on. So
it's true.
Yeah, over.
Okay, and then last one, Packers, 725.5 for Matthew Golden.
Over to the moon. He's getting 1,100.
Honestly, I mean, Worthy only ended up with 630 last year. And that's what I'm putting him at. Like, I think, like, and Worthy actually had some pretty good games at the end of the season. This, I can't make that bet. There's no way. Not with this, what we know about this team historically, at least the last couple of years, where it's just a complete shit show of who's getting the ball at any given moment, which is great for football. And it's great for the Packers watching them play and being able to. For fantasy football, this team is just a nightmare, at least receiver-wise.
I do think he could get 900 yards. I think that's completely within the realm of possibility. I won't think I would bet this one. And then just one more.
He gets 1,000. It's like 300 more than you're projecting him for. So
I'll take a 2-1 fireball bet for you.
Cool.
Wow. Okay. And then one more just because I thought it was kind of fun. Jameson Williams over-under is 875.5. The under is plus money, by the way. So that's why I think it's kind of interesting. They think he's definitely getting over 875, but what do you all think?
I would say he will.
I think he will, but man, like with his injury concerns and gambling concerns and betting, like,
if he deletes DraftKings and ices his legs, he'll make it.
Yeah, I mean, he had some issues to say the least in playing a full season. So I like that. I like them putting that prop on there.
They do, and I do love the plus money aspect of that. It does make me think, man, I should probably just sprinkle a little bit on that under. Just maybe he gets suspended for the year. That doesn't void the bet.
You're betting on one of the best players not playing football.
It's true. It's true. Betting unders, unless it's like Christian Watson.
Jameson just feels like Jameson just feels like the new Josh Gordon. I don't know why. We haven't really coined it yet, but it just seems like he hasn't done quite as crazy stuff as him, and he's not on drugs as far as we know.
He just needs, James Williams just needs one 1,500-yard season, just so we can look back and be like, do y'all remember prime Jameson Williams? Just like we say with Josh Gordon. It's like, you remember prime Josh Gordon?
Prime Jameson Williams?
Yeah, that.
To be fair, though, like the sky is the limit for Jameson Williams, especially if anything were to happen to Amon-Ra or even Laporta for that matter. Like,
I'm not going to lie to you, they're going to need a different quarterback. If they're going to make that work.
Goff definitely did his thing. He did his thing these last few years, and it's definitely tapering off. I thought it was a terrible trade from the get-go. I thought the Lions were screwed. They gained some picks out of it at the end of the day, but like the joke is about the Lions that they built this. They never built a team around Stafford. They finally built a team, and now they're one Stafford away from.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, honestly, you're exactly right. They're one guy that can sling the ball away. Okay. That's the NFC North. We have one division left. It's Josh's division. That is the NFC East that we will be doing next week. So, with that being said, Thunder up. Got to put that in there just because they got to close out this game tomorrow.
What's the Pacers champ?
Yes, sirs.
Motto?
It's yes, sirs.
I hate that. Go Thunder.
I'm dead serious. It's yes and then CERS. Yes, sirs.
I hate it.
Exactly, Josh. Your face right now is exactly why. Thunder up. All right, Joe, get us out of here.
Good night.